Okay, thank you. Dr. Hewitt.
Hi there. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'm a psychologist at the California Institution for Men, and I've been there for about 6.5 years, here representing AFSCME. And I wanted to give kind of a clinical perspective on what I've seen over my years working with patients in our institution, which is largely a reception center. So we get a majority of parole violators, and we have one mainline program. So I'll speak to that and a couple of other things. And in looking, I came from community mental health. And when I came into the system, I was underwhelmed by the level of focus on substance abuse treatment. When I look at the patients that I've treated over the years, I'm hard pressed to find where substance abuse has not affected the lives in a significant way of any of the patients. In fact, when I hear that there wasn't a major influence of substance use, that's the surprise, and then of course we don't believe it. So the impact of this, I think, can't be of the budget cuts cannot be overstated. In our program, in our prison with parole violators, it's not uncommon for me to see violators come in over and over again, and throughout their violations have not received any substance abuse treatment whatsoever. In fact, they often spend most of their violation in the reception center where there's not the resources for those services. In our mainline yard, you mentioned the cuts in services and specifically the shortening of the treatment time, and I think one of the impacts that we'll see with that is that you're not able to really individualize your treatment approach as well to those who might not be, who might need more in prison treatment time, and so that would be, as a clinician, very concerning to me. As we manage this transition, there's been some issues that have occurred where we have some inmates who are not able to get funding for their programs, their aftercare programs, after they've completed their programs. This was something that was brought to my attention at my institution, and so you have these contract interruptions that create those delays. And I think, as Judge Manning said earlier, when you have waiting lists, you start to lose treatment compliance. After one of the we also receive inmates from our sister institution, CRC, where they have the civil addicts program, and just to give you an idea of the impact of that, I understand that in October of 2009 there were 1,314 beds for substance abuse treatment there. I understand now there's currently 225. That was what I was told from their program. And so you have 500 inmates at any one time vying for those 225 beds, which creates this incentive actually to exclude themselves from the program. So that they will actually take, rather than what they're there for, to specifically receive treatment and avoid their felony charge, they will exclude themselves from treatment and just for the sake of getting a release date. At the other end of the spectrum, I spoke with an individual who had served 18 years and actually developed his substance abuse problem in prison. Didn't mention that didn't really have a significant problem before, and had paroled and felt completely not able to function in the community and was violated. Currently looking to release in the next 100 days, and the first thing that he was concerned about is, I'm going to take that $200 of gate money and I'm going to go use. So this is not somebody that we want to, in addition to their criminal behavior, be actively using substances in our communities. And so as a psychologist within the mental health program, I also think that it's important for us to talk about the issue of treating dual diagnosis, people who have a mental disorder who also have a comorbid substance abuse issue. So it seems to me, in my experience, that the treatment of alcohol and drug services have been very disconnected and not integrated with our mental health services. And so I think one of the things as we look to make these programs more effective is to really address those issues, because as Judge Manning said earlier, we have people who are releasing to the community who are using drugs to self-medicate, and furthering their time with us through continually violating and not getting the treatment they need. So, thank you.
I had some questions, but Assemblywoman Lowenthal has some questions, so I'll allow her to go first, and then Mr. Amiano. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, first of all, thank you very much for your work. It's got to be rough and tough when you don't have the resources and you see the needs all the time. I have a couple of questions and comments. I think it was the LAO who said that screening is done when people first come into the prison. What kind of screening is done, and is that done, you know, and any of you could answer this, really periodically through that stay, because the needs obviously change, and I'm not sure how you know everything on a, one-shot screening.